Welcome to Nobilis Erotica, the best science fiction and fantasy erotica podcast in the known universe. This week's story, Dirty Mad Libs from Balticon 54. This is episode 442. I am your host, Nobilis Reed. This episode of Nobilis Erotica is sponsored by nobody. This one's on me. I'm going to be bringing you a story very soon. We had a little trouble on May's story, but in the meantime, I have the recording I made of the Dirty Mad Libs panel at Balticon 54, which we held on Zoom and Discord over the past weekend. Featured on this recording are Grig, Larson, Charlie Brown, Valerie Griswold-Ford, and Stephanie Burke. You can find links for all of them in the show notes. Here we go. All right, welcome to Dirty Mad Libs at Balticon 54, where the food options might not be quite as varied as last year, but at least you're not sharing your internet with thousands of nerds simultaneously trying to watch that video of squirrels running an obstacle course. I am Nobilis Reed, creator and editor of the best erotic speculative fiction anthology podcast in the known universe, Nobilis Erotica. I am your host for this evening's insanity, or maybe inanity, we're going to see. This is Dirty Mad Libs, where we take the carefully crafted sex scenes scribed by expert and inexpert hands, rip them to shreds, and paste them together with words supplied by you, the audience. We're going to run this a little differently than previous years because of our distributed nature. We're going to gather words from you guys up front, put them all into a hat. I'll grab them as needed for our Mad Libbers to use. We're going to use the chat function for this, one part of speech at a time. So first, we want nouns. Please post your favorite noun in the chat so that our lovely tech can copy and paste them into a nice little list for me. It's okay if you put 2 or 3. Don't go nuts. For those of you who don't remember English class, this is a person, place, or thing like conventioneer or barbershop or helicopter, something like that. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to introduce the author of Space Bitch, Trolley, and the Saga of Punk Walrus, writer of the This Kaiju Life podcast, and all-around convention gadabout, gadfly, gadgeteer. We have Grig Punky Larson. Say hi and tell us your pronouns.
Hey, my pronoun is, you can call me he or it or by my Japanese name, hey you. This is the first time I've done this sort of thing. I've done, of course, Mad Libs as a kid. I like Mad Libs a lot. And are we announcing the thing we're reading yet? Or
Nope. That'll come later.
That'll come later. So I'm really excited to be here, and I hope this doesn't show up in a job reference search. So.
All right. How are we doing on the verbs, on the nouns there? Looks like we've got 50 or so. So I'm going to give you 5 more seconds to do those, and then I'm going to cut them off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. No more nouns. No more nouns.
Bad nouns.
When our texts give us the word that they have transcribed these, which may take a minute or 2, you guys in the audience start thinking about your verbs. Start getting them in mind because that's going to be the next thing. Don't type them yet. Wait till I tell you.
It's Theodore Sturgeon.
Oh.
You also can't throw things at the panelists when they're obnoxious.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Hey, who threw that?
Yeah, that's when this panel's done live.
Yeah. I am putting in a line of asterisks. That is our cutoff, and I'm hoping that our texts are on top of this.
Somebody's asking for the tense. I just think the infinitive for right now.
Yeah.
Just the infinitive. That's fine. Again, all right. Let's start with the verbs. I'm hoping the texts are on top of this. They haven't signaled yes or no, so we'll give it a go.
Crazy.
So start giving your verbs. Again, suggest 2 or 3, but don't try to hog the spotlight. That's my job. Verbs describe action, occurrence, or state of being, like jump or collapse or emerge. Give me the base form. You can put the 2 on the infinitive if you like, if you want to be pedantic, but that main word is the one we want to actually have. While you're pouring out that comedy gold, let me introduce the author of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse books, among many others. She's a knitter, a sitter, and not at all bitter. This is Valerie V.G. Griswold-Ford. Say hi and tell us your pronouns.
Hello. Pronouns are she, her.
Excellent. We're going to give our folks a chance to put some more verbs in, give them a minute and the text some time. I really wish the texts tell me that these are going well, because you know what? They're probably too busy typing.
Yeah.
Let me
Leave them all alone. Leave the text alone.
Well, okay. I'm checking my pool, and we've got about 50 nouns. So that sounds like a good start. We're going to do another round of these if we run out. So don't worry. If you didn't get a chance to put your favorite verb in, we will we'll get to those shortly. All right, excellent. I just got an update there. Looks like we've got a few dozen verbs. And so now let's go to adjectives. Now, adjectives are a word that describes or modifies a noun, like slimy or swollen or well lubricated. And while you guys are putting adjectives in, we can introduce an author of more books than I can count, a costumer, a cosplayer, and a cosmopolitan extraordinaire. Here is Stephanie Burke. Say hi and tell us your pronouns.
Hi, everybody. My pronouns are she and her. That, what, or it if you're trying to feed me. And feed can take many different connotations at that point. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
All right. Let's see. I'm keeping my eye on the chat here. On my pool of words, and they're quickly typing them in. That's making good progress.
Crazy.
We got some words in here.
Yeah, and I'm seeing
we might have a few writers in here.
There's a lot of them there. That's good. So let's see. I'm going to give another 5-second countdown to get the last of the adjectives in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, that's the end of the adjectives. No more adjectives, please. The next, what we want are adverbs. We want words that modify or describe verbs or adjectives. Often they end in ly, such as rhythmically or intensely. And while we blithely pass the word hat, allow me to introduce the author of Vamp City and Season of the Itch. He's an educator, a filmmaker, and a literary troublemaker. Here is Charlie Who Needs Nicknames Brown. Say hi and tell us your pronouns.
Hello, everyone, and happy Life Day. I am a he, I am a him.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, and yes, and I do mean Life Day, and possibly by the time this panel is over with in the Eastern Standard Time, it will be my birthday. So,
yay!
All
right.
Happy birthday!
So we have what looks like we have the
21 again.
Are populating the list. I think that will be good enough. There's enough there to get started when the first adverbs start showing up in the adverbs list. He's planning on. Let me give a cutoff for that. So your favorite adverbs in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're done with that. Once the text cut and paste the adverbs in. All right.
No, you're in trouble when you look up and see rectally.
I'm way more worried about post haste.
All right. So let's get to our first Mad Lib. Stephanie, why don't you give us? We're gonna split yours into 2 parts. You get to go first and last. So why don't you start giving me what you need for?
Okay.
Give Nobilis what you want.
I need a lot. Just saying.
Okay. Well, we've got a lot of words here, so let's start using them.
All right. Need a verb.
Run.
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 Oh. Okay.
Run will also work.
Run. I need a noun.
Penis.
Verb.
Rupture.
Which is opposed to the rapture, which is probably facing after reading this. Noun.
Car.
Verb.
Deflate.
Plural noun.
Dildos. Remember, there's an ES on the end of that, not just an S. You're gonna get that right.
Thank you, Dan Quayle.
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, okay. Oh my God. I want you all to know that I hate you very much.
You asked to be on this panel. I did not send goons around to capture you and tie you down for this. You volunteered.
It feels like it's been done. You know, this is going up on my website, and I'm blaming you.
All right. While you are reading this Frankenstein's monstrosity, I would like the audience to give us some more nouns because we ran out. So
I'm sorry.
Seriously, I feel like I've given birth to a linguist.
Well, I know
a very cunning linguist.
Very. Oh, wow.
Right, so go ahead and start reading there, Flash.
Okay, this is from my clip. From my novel, All the Small Things, which is an Omega verse, Alpha, Omega, Beta world. To break it down, men can get pregnant, kind of like dogs that go in heat and then to run. So that being said, all right, I'm gonna need a drink after this. Alpha. All of these men have run my penis in a state of undress, unbecoming my soldering iron. And I was in a footprint, in a shirt. Clay? Dirigible felt his Alpha's hands on his neck, extruding on the scruff before there was a tickle across the room. He landed face first against the huge, bigly plane of Bull, throwing his airplane out to stop his fall. Plastered against the platypus, he could boldly split down the beer stein, down the cucumber, and the burning to learn more about the canoe of the century. He imagined the Alphas struggling with the opinions of what was right and what was wrong, the Omegas and their romantic notions of what's coming to, I skipped one, Throb and Parallel Park. Was he pinched? No, he was Googling to do the bound with what the pilot had given him. He heaved nothing. He chanced to look back over his tentacle monster. His golf ball was not an awkward dog. His defense straight was low and angry, his sleep flowing around his tree as he hawked towards undoing the belt of his penguin. Poor penguin. Tigo was running as he hooked his tank drew closer. His starfish, unwilling to respond to his spin or dance, reflex and hope dominated was his were-possum? Self tried to take over. He vibrated, trying to get away. All cow were grinded to silky encounter, and for once his starship nature refused to acknowledge his instincts. He quivered him to run, to shuffle, and his wolf wanted him to waddle. But it was his church that cuddled down to aspirate him, and the footprint, and it was his jailer's gaze that demanded that he waffle, and that he not move a possum scrotum. So he inserted erect, running out of his ass in a dramatic slide that left him crepuscular, nearly to his cuddling knees. His hands nibbled against the cool fort, He adjusted the high-pitched, discombobulated sound, filling the room, which was vengeful for him. His wolf self was furiously in control. It revealed the roller skate and the soundment of his alpha as it prepared to bifurcate with someone his honey badger considered worthy. He stared at his foosball. His bob slithered to the ground, purring in the powerful muscular lamp beneath his detachable head of his cock nearly dissolved his navel. His thoughts churned. That's fine now. I know that you are tense. He oscillated, baring his teeth. His upper fangs perpetuate in the bright sunlight that scooped the room. And when I'm done with you, split, one sniff of you will flounder them where you belong. Chigo was racing harder than he ever managed, and his solo sex barks. His naughty dildo and his ketchup loved it. He wanted to suck to his typhoons and present properly to fornicate, his head to the floor, to hold his ass up floofully, to prove that he was ready. Before he could move, however, his buried saxophone was once again on the sketchbook of his neck, and his long llama digging into the soft flesh there, holding him flush against the wall. Never will anyone dare to ejaculate upon what is mine. He levitated to the somnambulous of his alpha's pheromones, making Tico's wolf flutter more. His whole dog was drooling as his mate writhed in an escalated leg and swam it to the top of his knee-high seamstress that ran the length of the rhubarb. Tico's hands exfoliated palm first down against the expired, seeking scissors, a chopstick, anything to stop his campus from masticating away in a hormone-driven high. But it was his alpha's stingy body pressing against his naked Venetian blinds that anchored him. Alpha, mine, Daiki, ventilated in his ear before rupturing at the mating mark left on his car. Mine, he repeated. Eventually, it's a still swollen bite mark that had turned Tico's dildos to water. I'm done with all of you. I can't stand all of you. Oh my God.
Brian Geisen would be so proud right now.
So is that part one now? Okay, we're going to give you some time to recover here. I'm going to give you some time to recover. It is now Grig's turn.
Oh, all right.
Our techs have refilled the pool, and now it is time for Grig to ask for some words.
All right. I need an architectural feature of some kind, like something you would go to for a building for.
For the weird ones like that aren't nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, I'm going to do those myself.
All right.
So for the architectural feature, I'm going to say wainscoting.
Oh, sounds like a wonderful village in Dorset.
It's the plywood. It's the paneling.
Oh no, I know what it is. Social position.
Social position. Overlord.
Ah, that works in this case. Whoops, what is it doing?
I don't have anything for you.
All right, I need a noun.
Hornbill. Bowl.
Let's see, another feeling.
Giddy.
All right, so this is the story. I took the number one fanfic for the new series of Star Wars movies. This is something called Can't Turn Off What Turns Me On by Audrey 2_FIC. Chapter 2, Day 0.
No.
The rug is threadbare and the light fixtures are cheap, but Maz's place has all the fundamentals of a proper heat hotel: soundproof rooms, industrial air ventilation, and wainscoting. Which is why, even though the parking lot is full, Ray doesn't hear or smell a thing other than herself when she finally checks in at 7:50. Maz, an overlord of indeterminate age, so short she needs stepping stool to reach over her desk, takes a deep sniff and frowns at Ray. "You left it too late, kiddo," she says. "Room 304. I know. Please tell me there's Hornbill in there. If he's gone, he didn't come out this way. Thank God." She takes the stairs, 2 at a time. What if he doesn't like you? Oh, Ray hates this part of herself, the needy, clingy part that requires overlord affirmation just to feel like she has purpose on this earth. You shaved your legs, you put on mascara, but you're almost an hour late. So what if the key card almost falls from her shaking fingers. With the third swipe, she manages to get the lock open, slide in, and close the door behind her. "I'm sorry I'm late," she says immediately. "The traffic was..." "Don't be sorry. I'm not upset." And just like that, sweet, blessed comfort, peace of mind, all because Overlord she's never met before isn't annoyed with her. Being a dyspepsia is the worst. The Overlord in question is seated on the bed, which is simply bolted to the wall. But he stands and stands and stands and stands. And Ray gets her first look at the guy who's hopefully going to dangle her blind for the next 48 hours. The ennui inside of her almost keels over with joy. Ben is a medical dictionary's definition of an overlord. Very, very tall, very, very broad, very, very muscular. Ray can see that even through the black jumper he's wearing. The picture from the app must have been an old one because now he's got a scar that stretches from just above his eye to his collar, a scar that screams to her hormones. This one has fought for other overlords and won. This is an overlord's overlord. This one will fend off intruders and build a strong house and will provide well for many progeny. Thank goodness she renewed her birth control shot last week. "Hi," she manages to gasp. He visibly languishes. "Hi." Oh God, his voice. "Take me now, Overlord." Ray doesn't break eye contact as she toes off her shoes, unbuttons her shirt, and shimmies out of her sparring. Ben, he doesn't move, but his pupils noticeably dilate with each article of clothing she removes. She can see it. She can see the gaze and the line in his jeans, how much he approves. But "Tell me you like me," the frenulum inside of her urges him. "Tell me you like me. Tell me I'm good. Tell me you approve." Ugh. And this is her when she's ramping up. In 6 hours, she'll be saying crap like that out loud and meaning it. Seriously, being in excitement is just the worst. Ray kicks off her underwear, slick, thick, and slippery, smears across her inner thighs.
Oh.
Ben inhales roughly, then again slowly. "Tell me you like me, please, Overlord. Tell me I'm good." She's naked and hasn't even moved. What's wrong? Doesn't he know what to do, what she needs? Then, with hyphens. Whatever the problem was, it is gone now because this Overlord's hands are fucking everywhere. I don't know if fucking's an adjective or a verb there. "You are." He bends down, presses his face into the side of her throat. His fingers dig into the curve of her ass. You smell so... So does he. You stayed on Vyvanse, right? She gasps, pulling frantically at his clothes. Who cares? Screams the boredom. I did, don't worry. One hand fists into her hair. His teeth raise the gland just below her ear. The one he's allowed to touch. I swore I'd get through this without laughing. Don't worry, Scheidenfrude. Oh, delicious relief. Yes, don't worry. This overlord will take care of you. You, Ray, who always has to take care of herself. It is okay now. You are okay now. Yeah, Finn and Maz were right. She left it too long. A few hours ago, she and Ben could have at least a conversation first. A glass of wine. A Nautilus. But now, why is he not naked yet? Bed, he says, as she whimpers and tries to climb him like a sprinkler. Come here. Come with me and get on the bed. The wall is fine by her, but the bed is where her overlord wants her. That's where she'll be, and that's okay, too. Ray hops onto the mattress without further urging and spreads her legs wide. Look at me. Tell me this is what you want. Tell me I'm good. He looks. Zounds, he says. Just that. Then again, zounds. It's not what she wants to hear. But words aren't everything, and his scent is more than approving. And finally, he is taking off his shirt. Her uvula goes dry. And his jeans. Oh, she says in the same soft voice he had just used on her. Oh, he is above her without any further preamble. No explanation, no exploration, no study, no teasing, just his thick, phenomenally hard duodenum, which he is very happy to see for the first time in person rather than by text. Nudging against her sopping wet entrance. Is this all right? He adds, hovering over her like this. Ray's halfway into hard heat. He could have her any which way. She'd be mewling in gratitude, but it feels good. Maybe not to be the frustrated, but to the rest of her that asks so politely, yes, she says, like this. He scratched her in one thrust. Oh! Ray digs her heels into the bed, her armpit in his shoulders, and prepares to titrate through the floor because, oh my God. But that isn't what happens. But for a moment, Ben does nothing but breathe against her throat and under her hands, and then in one slow, experimental movement, another, and another. Please, Overlord, please fuck me harder. Tell me I'm you, he gasped into the air, are the best thing I felt in my life. Ray's coming so hard, her vision strokes. The best thing. Then a moment later, it's much better. It's absurdly better. And the corpuscle builds inside of her, and all the right places are rubbed, pressed, and are sticky against her. She can't take this, but this is what she was built for. This is what she was made here to do. His hand slides behind the small of her back and lifts her closer as he licks as deep as possible to get. He makes nonsense noises above her. Yes, and good. Something soothing. Bowling. Helpless in his giddy as he comes along with her for long, long moments. Oh, yes. This is what she needed. Exactly what she needed.
50 Shades of Ray, everybody.
I almost wanted to read it like Ted Knight, for the Legions of Doom. His hands slide behind the ball, smell of her back. As he lifts her closer, he licks as deep as possible to get. Meanwhile, in the Justice of Doom.
All right. So following up on that masterful performance, Tex, we are probably going to run over. Is that going to be a problem? Are we okay with taste?
I am checking right now, but go for it.
Okay. We're going to keep going until somebody makes us stop.
Until the police show up.
Yeah.
Until one of us gets swatted.
Oh, Isaac, we can't do
All
that.
right. Val, you are up next. Let's have what you need.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to give it to you.
Okay. So I decided to go for the classics. Or what Google tells me a classic.
Well, don't tell us what it is yet. Get your
Nope.
words filled in first.
Okay. Verb.
Smooch.
Noun.
Duct tape.
Adjective.
Gritty.
Activity.
Let me look through the verbs and find one. Smelling.
Feeling.
Pissed off.
Noun.
Sriracha.
Okay. So, yeah. So I have not read this book, but I can pretty much guarantee this is not the way Jeffrey Eugenides decided that the Virgin Suicides was going to go. He smooched in his car, gazing at the duct tape, watching his gritty lights traded martinis with those upstairs, and then one by one went out. He thought about Solo getting shudderingly for bed, and just the subwoofer of her Snow a toothbrush excited him more than the full-fledged perinatum he saw in his own bedroom nearly every duck. He laid his ankle back on the oscillator and opened his mouth to fillet the rat in his heel, when suddenly the pony inside the kilt turned. He felt himself bronchiodilated by his long lapels, pulled forward and pushed back, as the word salad with 100 mufflers started sucking the marrow from his time code generators. She said, "You shall not pass," as she came on like a blithe laptop, and he wouldn't have known who it was if it hadn't been for the taste of her kumquat, which after the first few flaccid kisses he found himself excreting. She was no longer wearing spool, but a flannel nightgown. Her earlobe, wet from the lawn, gave off a stringy smell. He felt her violent shins, her velvety knees, her sweaty thighs, and then with terror he put his hamstring in the ravenous mouth of the animal flagellating below her waist. It was as though he had never split a bubble before. He felt rodent and an oily substance like otter chupacabra. Two beasts lived in the chicken, one above, snuffling and extruding him, and one below, blazing to get out of its salty cage. Valiantly he did what he could to vent them, placate her, but the sense of his insufficiency grew, and after a 9 to 12 business day period, with only the words "gotta get back before smelling," Lux left him more pissed off than Sriracha.
Huzzah.
Well done.
Huzzah.
Well done. Yeah, somebody mentioned from this is verging into body horror. Somebody said in the chat, and it's like VML is always body horror.
Oh, yes, yes. Always.
You're definitely going to get that here. Okay, Charlie.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Noun.
Trigonometry.
Trigonomics.
Adjective.
Breathtaking.
All right. Noun.
Dodo bird.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy.
No, he left a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Jesus just left for Chicago, and he's heading to New Orleans. Noun.
Television.
All right. Okay. Noun.
Curt.
Curt. Wait, that's a noun?
Yeah, you push one around a cart.
Oh, cart. Okay. I heard Kurt, like in being short with someone.
No,
Okay.
C-A-R-T, cart.
Okay, verb?
Excrete.
Maybe. And finally, body part.
Bicep.
Yes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the wait is worth it. I promise you.
What are you reading for us?
I was ravished by Bigfoot by Ned Cryptid Slut Chicane. Okay, so he works at this Bigfoot place, and so Bigfoot has walked in to the Bigfoot Museum. A low grunt is the only answer I receive as the visitor steps forward into the light of my shop. My eyes widen as I realize that my customer is not a customer at all, but the mighty Sasquatch. I'm not a small fan, but I'm not a small man, but I have to look up into his furry trigonometry to meet his eyes. It takes me a moment, though, because under all that hair, I can tell his chest is covered with breathtaking muscles. That actually fits. Bigfoot, as they say, is patient. It's been a long time since my younger days when I was popular in the street, when I would go home with a different lovely punch card every night. That actually fits, too. I suppose that's why I'm checking out the router in front of me. Sheer desperation. Of course, his thick hourglass does little to hide his tight, hard body, so I really don't feel that I should be blamed for my mind wandering breathily. I'd say my mind stopped wandering, though, and started playing or even limping as my eyes slip lower and notice the huge lube between his legs. My breath catches, and as if feeling my regard as a physical force, Bigfoot's octopus starts to swell and gallop. I look up again and find the creature gazing at me intently. We stand for a moment, obscure. Then he moves surprisingly quickly, given his size. I find myself pinned against the hot pepper behind me by his bulk, his immense speedboat pressing against me. Before I can do more than let out a surprised eye socket, he grabs my shirt and, ripping it off me, imploding it into shreds onto the floor, I drop my hands and undo my vampire quickly, scrabbling out of my pants before they get the same treatment. I'm going commando, which just makes things easier. Generally, I enjoy the desperation, but in times like this, it's certainly a taco. Bigfoot gives a Dr. Lickalicious that sounds appreciative, and I sneeze up at him. He may be older than I was, but I'm still in fairly good shape. Maybe a little gray sprinkled among my goose, but I'm told it looks distinguished. The cryptid doesn't seem to mind. His hands move over my chest, fingers brushing my submarine and making sparks fly through me. I groan and arch against him, rubbing my own growing merkin against him. His hands grip my hips, replicating me up and hanging me around. He bends me over the counter, hitting me there with his big, meaty alligator on my shoulders. No, I'm not complaining. There's nowhere I'd rather be than right here. I grind my fang against him encouragingly. Come on, big boy. You know what you want, and it's right here. I reach back and smack my flashlight playfully, thanking my lip. Oh, I want some of that Bigfoot book. I groan in my need. He doesn't waste any more time, one tomato still holding me down, and the other grabbing my hip, holding me just where he wants me. I try to wiggle a bit just because, and his grip tightens. I moan awkwardly. Oh, Bigfoot, give me that big dick. I cry. He grunts excitedly, and I feel his huge neck pressing against my glitter. He pushes into me quickly, and I cry out at the sudden probe. That actually works. The fur on his dick is burped with something, so he slides in easily, despite his girth stretching me to my very limits. I've taken some large wombat in my day. But this is without a doubt something else. He keeps pushing deeper than I've ever felt, and I groan. I'm so full of your Sasquatch dodo bird, I say breathlessly. I can feel his large television pressing against my cart as he buries himself to the hilt. I excrete as much as I can as he holds me down, desperate for him to move. When I'm starting to think I can't stand it anymore, he pulls back, almost all the way out, then shoves back in. I scream in pleasure as the whole length of him drags along my bicep. Oh, that's good, I say. Take me, Bigfoot. Use me for your pleasure.
Done. I'm done with all of y'all. Yeah.
Sign language provided by Dahlia.
Luckily, Flash, we are out of time, so you are done with us.
I gotta go. I'm gonna go back to the chat, see what people were saying there.
People were saying help.
The chat
Wombats have rump shields, apparently. Wombats have rump shields.
Sarah Testarossa is schooling me on /fic here on Alpha and Omegaverse, and not even madlibbers can fix this.
Right.
I thought about that. I was like, oh, yeah, this is pretty bad on its own.
Oh, yes. That's what I was saying. The guy used almost no adjectives. That's why it was all nouns.
There were so many verbs.
That's fine. That's fine. Somebody told him to get rid of the adverbs, and he missed.
Yeah, exactly.
The adverbs were ashamed, and they ran away.
Right, that's true. That is true.
Right. This has been Dirty Mad Libs at Balticon 54. I am Nobilis Reed. I'm not going to extend this torture any longer.
Oh, for a second, I thought Val went unconscious.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your words, both panelists and audience. And I'll see you next year for Dirty Mad Libs at Balticon 55.
Wouldn't miss it.
Bigfoot, yeah.
Woo! I need a cigarette.
And that's our presentation. You have been listening to the Nobilis Erotica podcast. Theme music is composed and performed by Mass Relay. This podcast is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Until next time, listen hard.